Hello, and welcome to Coffee with M and J.
I'm Mandy.
And I'm Jamie.
As moms, entrepreneurs, and community builders, navigating the highs and lows of life and business,
we share real talk and practical tips on entrepreneurship and everyday life.
Sometimes we bring on guests to share their advice and stories to inspire and guide us.
So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and let's get started.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with M and J. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Mandy.
I'm Mandy. Jamie.
I'm Jamie.
Jamie, what's in your cup?
Okay, I have, my cup is almost empty, but it was Embrace the Grind with almond milk.
Yum. And my cup is also almost empty. It might be a coffee refill time. And just two navy blue espresso pods with a little bit of cream.
Okay, did you say 2 navy blue espresso pods?
Yeah, Nespresso, like they're just the cover. Nespresso. I don't know what I'm sure it has a real name, but they're just navy blue. That's my favorite of the Nespresso pods. So
anyhow. Makes sense. Your shirt's navy blue too. Yeah.
Navy
blue coffee, navy blue shirt. I picked my Islands navy blue last week.
I am a fan of the blues.
I am too.
And greens. I'm a blue and green kind of person. Yes. So, well, maybe we need to do a rebrand to do navy blue.
Blue Dabba-dee-da. I cannot believe I just sang that and we're recording.
Anyways, welcome to our podcast. So, today we want to talk about something kind of serious, which is maybe why we're being so silly, is that, you know, I'm in a season of transition. I'm about to be an empty nester. And I recently was invited to a book club, and I don't know if any of my book club ladies listen to this podcast, but I'm just being real here. It was not my cup of tea. But it quickly made me realize that some of the things that they were talking about were themes that Jamie and I had talked about a lot in Jamie's life. And we came up with this term, right? Or did you steal it from somebody, borrow it from somebody?
I feel like the term is something that came into my head organically, but it's not my original idea.
Okay.
But I don't know where it came into my head from. Like one day the word was just there, but yeah.
So the wording is too good. Like TOO, too good of a mom. And what that means, how it really came about, right? Like, it's not like you set out intentionally to be like, this is what I'm doing. This is, but it happened over time. And Jamie and I have had quite a few conversations about that, especially as I'm launching kids and I raise my kids very differently as a mom and as a couple we did. And so it's just, as a mom, how much of yourself have you given up to be all the things for your kids? Right. And I feel like in particular, I'm seeing a lot of moms in this stage, or yes, I have empty nest syndrome happening, right? Because I'm like, shit, what am I going to do with my time? And so we have lists of things, activities that we're like, well, we're going to start working out. We're going to start doing things for ourselves that we haven't been able to because we've volunteered, or, you know, like we want to be here when our kids get home from school or work or whatever it is. But it's a different level when you've become a too good mom.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to speak on this?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So it's also interesting because it takes another, there's multiple different layers here, and it really just depends on which side you want to peel from. This isn't just the space that I've been navigating and overcoming. How do I want to say this? Overcoming the overcompensation, right? Like,
which you've been using your own tools to do.
No,
that not everybody has.
absolutely. So this is like some of these layers, this is me like shifting my brand or adding a niche. This
Mm-hmm.
is literally I'm 2 years away from being an empty nester. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Um
Yep.
and my 20-year-old still lives for now. Like he's planning his next step, but he's still here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it really comes down to um, how prepared are my kids for the next step,
Mm-hmm.
which made me then self actualize, self review. I don't know what the right word is right now. Um, Look at what I was doing
Mm-hmm.
and why.
Mm-hmm.
The too good mom overcompensates out of love. The
Yeah.
too good mom often compares herself to the Pinterest perfect moms. Like the
Mm-hmm.
too good mom didn't have one or more of her core needs met as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. And what that looks like is because nobody ever did these things for me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do them for you because that's what I always wanted. I always wanted somebody to help me. I always wanted somebody to support me. I always wanted all of these things that I didn't get. So instead of just being a loving, supportive, teaching parent, I went like I did everything for my family, everything.
But then
And
you also lost yourself in the process.
okay, there's this goes deeper too. Yes, I did. I gave up every part of myself for my family. But the
Mm-hmm.
worst part was I don't know that I had a strong a sense of self before I got into my marriage. I think
Mm-hmm.
in my mid to late 20s, I had moved to Texas at 22. I was separated from my family and I was just starting to understand who I was outside of being somebody's wife. I mean, somebody's daughter, somebody's
Mm-hmm.
granddaughter, somebody's this, somebody's that, somebody's this, somebody's that. And then I became somebody's wife and somebody's mom and somebody else's mom. And
And with their expectations of how you should be, not your own.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
you don't start, I mean, there are plenty of women out there, probably men too, that start with a strong sense of self and
Mm-hmm.
kind of slowly over time give it all up to their family for their family.
Yep.
And there's so many more of us out here who didn't have a strong sense of self before they started the process. So when like you think about becoming an empty nester, when you think about your kids moving on to the next thing, it's almost like paralyzing fear because outside of that role of mom, dad, caregiver, whatever you label it, um, who am I? Like, what do I like? I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like trying to have to rediscover who you should have always been and had that space for yourself while you were being a mom, while you were being a caregiver or a wife. Like, do you love to read? Do you love to garden? Maybe you want to be a runner and you never had time for it. What did you give up when you shouldn't have, right? Because
Mhm.
feeding yourself as a parent and making time for yourself is probably the most important part of parenting because guess what? You can't pour from an empty cup. And
Mhm.
when you do, you literally are pouring everything you have to survive.
Mhm. And I want
Everything.
to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I
You're
want
good.
to take this the opposite direction too.
Okay.
And I want to say, what can you stop doing? What can you
Yes.
stop doing? What do you hate? What is something that used to be fun or used to bring you joy that is now a chore?
Mm-hmm.
Mandy, I sold both of my oh wait, I got rid of all of my Christmas trees. I had two that were used, three total. They're gone. They're
Good for
gone.
you.
I
I
purchased
hope you get like a little mini one.
It depends on it probably depends on where we move. It's not going to be a mini, but it's not going to be the 9 foot gargantuan,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
takes hundreds of ornaments and it's not even covered. But that's not the point. The point is that there are things that I have done for the last 15 to 20 years that started as things that I loved, like baking cookies. In
Mm-hmm.
my 20s, I worked in a professional office, and that's when I started baking cookies and started baking banana bread. And everybody loved stopping by my cubicle because I always had cookies. I was a single girl living in Austin and I baked cookies. I
Mm-hmm.
love baking cookies. But as a mom, as a stay-at-home mom for 17 years, like, oh, it's Easter. I have to bake cookies.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving. It's this. I have to do this because I've always done it. It just sucks the joy right out of it. So
Yep.
explore those things that suck the joy out of your life. I mean, I used to love to garden. Well, it's not that I don't like to garden now, but I really don't like being hot.
Yeah.
So maybe I stop gardening because I don't like being hot, not because I'm too tired from taking care of everybody else's shit.
Yeah.
Like, so I think, you know, and honestly, Mandy, when I tell you, like, I can go back to my 20s and I had really solid friends, no family here in Texas. And sometimes when my friends weren't around, it was like I was sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I didn't even know what to do. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I still feel that way. Like I work, 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 work. I go do the community events. I spend time with my kids. I this, I that, I this, I that. And then there's like a random couple hours. And I just look up like, what now?
Mm-hmm.
What now?
Mm-hmm.
Do I go for a walk? Do I go on a quick hike? Do I call somebody and see if they want to get a quick coffee? I mean, any of these things are good options, but
Yeah.
it's that moment, and honestly, the pressure is so intense that it can cause a freeze response.
Hmm. Like an overwhelm
Like
shutdown.
like perfection paralysis.
Okay. Okay. So you were when right before we hit record, like you were giving me some definitions. I'm like, just stop. We have to
Mm.
just start this podcast and get it going. So I want you to go back to those. Give
Okay.
me the definitions you have. Like, let's
Okay.
unpack this.
I'm going to try to read this and breathe. Okay.
All the
A too
grace.
good mom is a phrase often used, sometimes lightheartedly, sometimes seriously, to describe a mother who tries to do everything perfectly or meet unrealistic expectations of motherhood. It can mean different things depending on the context, but
Mm-hmm.
there's four main ones. There's the perfectionist mom, and she always puts her kids first, even at her own expense. She tries to control every detail, meals, schedules, emotions, outcomes, to ensure nothing ever goes wrong. And she may feel guilty when things do go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the overfunctioning mom, and she does everything for her kids instead of teaching them how to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
This can unintentionally prevent children from building independence or resilience.
Or just like life skills.
Amen. I've been
Yeah.
saying amen a lot lately. Like, amen.
Okay.
She is often tied to a desire to shield her kids from pain, failure, or discomfort. So she's tethered to that protection. Like
Mm-hmm.
she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want her kids to feel it at all. Now, okay, so now we're getting to the martyr mom. And the
Okay.
martyr mom's definition is it might be a little bit different than what you initially think. The martyr mom sacrifices her own joy, career, relationships, or health in service of her family, believing this is what makes her a good mom. Her worth may become entangled with constantly being needed.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so there's one more. And the social media standard mom. She feels pressure to look like the ideal mom online, perfectly dressed kids, organized snacks, endless patience, and a spotless home. Behind the scenes, she may be burnt out, anxious, or trying to uphold the illusion.
So the Pinterest mom.
The Pinterest mom, the Pinterest perfect mom. Yeah.
So I feel like the too good mom probably takes, honestly, a little bit of all of those things. Honestly, I mean, for sure, they probably have one pillar that is like, yes, they hold all of it. And then they probably like, but I hold a little from this one and a little from this one, a little from this one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Depending upon their personality.
I have things in every single one of those categories, Mandy. Like, boo-hoo. No, but this is not new information to me.
Yeah.
I can't remember how young my kids were. This was way before divorce. This was a while ago. I had been in our guest room folding laundry for like 2 hours, and I basically, instead of putting the laundry away, called my kids in and handed them stacks.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know where they went. They didn't know how to put away their clothes. And let me tell you, they were old enough to know. But I was the mom. Okay, you go get in that shower. You go get in that shower. They get started in the shower. Here's a fresh towel. Here's fresh pajamas waiting when you get out. How would they know where their pajama drawer is if they never have to use it? But that was the day that they didn't know where their pajama drawers were. That was the day I remember standing there screaming to the sky, I have failed as a parent because I'm not teaching my kids anything. And since that day, I mean, whether they're small steps or big steps, I have been focused on teaching my kids instead of doing it for them. Unfortunately, they'd rather me do it for them because that's what they're
Of course
used
they would.
to.
But also, I mean, if someone takes that up and then it's off my plate, they want to give it back to me. I'm like, are you sure you can keep that?
Mhm.
This is pretty comfy over here. Why would they want to take it back?
They
That's why
don't.
you have to start young. Like, they have to know how to unload the dishwasher. I mean, since the kids could like be around a dishwasher, they've always done the plastics. We always had a drawer where they could put away their own plates, cups, knives, forks. They've always put away their laundry. Like, that's something that you have to start when they're like 2 and 3. They're capable. They are capable. We also let our kids dress themselves when they were that young, even if it looked like a hot train mess.
Interesting. Okay, so young listeners, heed Mandy's advice. She's right. I mean, and I'm going to say this because I say this over and over and over. We can't know what we don't know until we do. But then once we do, it becomes our responsibility to do something different. It's like Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. We have this power. And the older your kids are, the harder it's going to be to get them on board to do what you want them to do. And if you don't, you run the risk of humans that don't know how to take care of themselves.
That's true. That's so true. Like, if your kids are old enough to reach into the washing machine, they're old enough to do their own laundry. We have a list above the washing machine, and it tells them exactly like colors that go together, how to wash your clothes, what to wash them on, all the things. Like, if you didn't wash a shirt because you wanted to wear it on such and such a day, that's your problem, not mine. Like, that's teaching kids to be responsible for themselves, right? You didn't wash your work clothes. Oh man, either you're going to have to figure it out. You're wearing wet clothes, or you're just going to smell like work again. And that sucks for you, but you should have washed your clothes. Now, will we give our kids grace? And if they ask for help, yes. But that doesn't mean they've asked for help. Now we're taking it over for them. It's a one-time deal. They asked us for a favor, and as parents, we can help them with that favor. That doesn't mean we do it for them all the time. Just like when my kids were in school, you know, there was always that, oh my gosh, I forgot this. Can you just run it up to me? Jamie, how often do you run things to your kids?
Recently, not often.
Okay.
Maybe, okay, so I mean, I have a sophomore and one in college. So, but I'll go back to when they were little all the damn time.
And now you're sophomore drive, so it changes things a little bit.
Sure. And look, I mean, if it's a game day and he forgot his socks, bet your ass I'm going to go find him and take him down to the school, because I want him to march on the field with his socks and all of the things. And I still understand that that's doing him a disservice, because he might have to get in trouble from the coach for not having the right damn socks.
So you know what? Here's the thing. We would still do that for our children too. But you know what we do? Is that took me an hour of my time, and my time is valuable. So now this is my least favorite chore as a parent. And do you really need those socks, or do you want to clean the floors, or do you want to, we trade services. Our time as parents are valuable. Their time is valuable. They need to understand what they're asking of us.
Okay, my favorite thing from this episode so far is trade services with your kids. Yeah. I mean, think about it as more of a professional thing. If you were going into a business situation, would you give your shit away for free all the time? No. You would charge or barter.
Also, like, kids need to understand, if they don't come to work prepared, they're going to get fired.
Yep.
They need to understand the consequences of, oh, I just didn't do it, or I didn't feel like it, or I forgot. Well, what are the steps you need to take so you don't forget? Do you need to put reminders in your phone? Do you need to put a sticky note in your car? Do you need to put a sticky note on your backpack? How can you prepare yourself to not forget, right?
And
it's not our job to micromanage our kids' lives.
No, it's not. And so many get tripped up there. Now,
it is our job to help prepare them. It's our job to help them choose healthy lifestyles. We have bigger roles to play in our kids' lives than micromanaging.
And the stark contrast between Mandy's parenting and Jamie's parenting is there. And we can't go back and get do-overs. But we can be really honest with ourselves. Maybe that's the word I was looking for earlier. I mean, really honest with what am I doing here? Like, how can I change this? Oh, I can teach my kids this now. So here's the thing though. And I want to talk, I do want everyone.
Can I add something into really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just about being honest with yourself, but it's about being honest with your kids too.
Yes.
It's about, hey, look, I know I've always done this, and communicating. This is good for all life skills, right? When they have a partner, they need to learn to communicate. But it first starts communicating at home and listening to your kids fully when they have something to say to you. Like, hey, look, I made a mistake, or I feel like I've made a mistake. I'm not setting you up for the future, and I'm no longer going to do this for you. This is my expectation for you. And I've hamstringed you at this point, and we're going to fix it now versus when you're 30.
Absolutely. And I think, that's actually the direction that I was going.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, I love that you went there. I don't apologize, please. Navigating this space knowing that I got on board later in the game, being a stay-at-home mom for so long, it was easier to do things myself and have them done the right way. I'm not justifying. I am
Jamie, I
telling
was a
you,
stay-at-home mom too.
but I know, but you also, Mandy, again, this isn't about this is where we get to embrace our differences because
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I was also a stay-at-home mom.
right. But I had no job outside of my house for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And these are only a fraction of the moms that I'm talking to, because I'm not talking to moms like you today. I'm talking to the moms that are looking at their 14, 15, 16, up to like 24-year-olds like, oh shit. Oh shit. They're not okay. And I do want, if your kids are not where you think they should be, number one, your kids are not you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
their life. And this is also where you need to ask yourself, did I prepare my kids for what comes next? Period, point blank. And if you didn't, it is your opportunity to get busy teaching. And that starts with the communication. Oh my gosh, you guys, I understand that I created this. I have had this conversation with my kids. I created every single bit of this. By not making you clean your room, you have learned to be messy. And this is a learned behavior that we're about to freaking change.
Yep.
Period, point blank. And I'm going to help you get there, but you have to do it.
Being a stay-at-home mom is that I did this when I was a stay-at-home mom also. I did not do everything for my kids.
I believe you.
So it's not just a stay-at-home mom thing. It's a two-good mom thing.
It is right.
Yeah.
It is a two good mom thing. And two good moms can be working moms. They can be stay-at-home moms.
Yeah.
Mandy.
That was my point of that. Sorry.
Right. No, you're good.
Point it correctly.
Mandy had phases of being a stay-at-home mom, phases of working jobs that allowed her to live like a stay-at-home mom. Right? Did I get that right? Right?
Yep.
But she and Andrew had these conversations from the beginning on how they wanted to raise their kids. Yes. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are the way they're brought up is so traditional or so specific. Again, it goes to that your identity becomes just intertwined with your kids. And when you don't have a separate sense of self, and I mean, there's so many things involved, and it's not going to be a cookie cutter for everyone.
No, for sure. And every couple is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you have to have those hard conversations. If something's not working, you don't just swallow it and go along with it. You have to be like, hey, this isn't working for me.
And I think the hardest part about that is that, I mean, communication is key in all relationships. If you have no communication, I'm the a-hole today. You have no relationship. If you and your friends don't get past surface level, if you and your partner don't get past surface level, guess what? You don't have a relationship, folks. And I mean, I can tell you that some of my longest running relationships actually weren't relationships, but
they were cohabitations,
right? But your kids, my children have responded very well, especially considering they're boys, to me owning my shit. I created this monster. Now it's time for us to tame it together.
Yep. Yeah.
But you have to be willing to be honest, and you have to be willing to, do these things and do the hard things. And I mean, I'm not sorry if your kid is 24 and still living at home and not paying rent and working a part-time job, and you don't like that. Well, hell, I wouldn't like it either. Like, good. Let that discomfort push you to push your kid. but not, I mean,
And also
maybe,
paying
maybe
their
call
car
me.
payment and their insurance and their cell phone bill and giving them a new cell phone. You're enabling that behavior.
That's correct.
And if you're doing it because you want your kids around and you're buying their time and love, then that's something you need to look at and know that you're going to have to be an asshole at some point. Otherwise, you're going to be paying for your kids' mortgage.
Well, you're
You're going to be
hindering
paying for
their
your grandkids'
growth.
college.
You are hindering their growth
Yes.
on accident from a place of love. And I
Yes.
should have said this right off the gate, right out of the gate. But you guys, there is, on my side, there is zero judgment and zero shame. I know that even all of the things that you regret in your life, not just around parenting, if you could have done better in that moment, you would have done better in that moment. But now that the regret is there, it's an opportunity to learn and grow and do something different.
And admit it to your kids or admit it to your spouse and be like, I want to do better as a person. How do we grow from here?
Okay.
Because guess what? If you don't admit it to your spouse or your kids, your spouse, that's a different story. But your kids, guess what's going to happen? The cycle repeats and they don't know any different. And if you're raising boys, then they're expecting their wives to give up everything for their kids and for them. And that's not fair. They need to be respectful of their wives. They need to be co-parenters. They need to be present as part of the relationship. It is not the woman or stay-at-home parent's job to do all the things for everybody.
Amen. And if you are navigating this space and want some guidance, want some coaching, some tips, some tricks, please reach out to me.
Yes.
And
Jamie is your source.
This is not just what I am navigating in my life personally. It's also where I'm going professionally. Mandy and I have both been at events recently where these topics keep coming up and keep coming up, whether it's book club or women's group or this. I'm so tired. I'm so this. My people don't do this. My people don't do that. Well,
why would they if they've never had the expectation that they needed to?
They never knew. You can't expect people to do things that nobody ever taught them to do. So our parents didn't teach us. Their parents didn't teach them. We can show grace and compassion all the way back through the lineage. But you know what? In this modern generation where everything is at our freaking fingertips, we don't have an excuse to not have the information we need.
Or want.
Right.
Yeah. So, Jamie, let's leave some people with some actionable items. We were just talking about that, at the beginning of this podcast, I think. Maybe it was the end of the last one. I don't know. Let's give people some actionable items. If they feel like, oh, dang, that list, those 4 pillars of the different 2 good moms, I see myself on them. What do you think is their first step?
Okay. So here's a couple healthier alternatives.
Okay.
Show up with love consistently.
I love that. And love here. Can I caveat on that?
Absolutely.
I feel like parents need to, you can show the kids the path you want your children to be on, but that doesn't mean that's their path. And you should still love them for who they are and the choices they make. If they're not harming themselves, they're not doing something illegal, just because it's not what you would have chosen for them, doesn't mean that they're not going to live an amazing life. Love them for who they are and where they're at.
I love that caveat. And I'm going to add just a little bit more.
Yes, please.
Our children, we should all strive for our children to be a good representation of who they are or who they're becoming, not who we think they should be.
Yes.
I mean,
okay. 2.
Okay. Another healthier alternative is a mom or parent that models self-care and boundaries.
I love this. I love this. I love this. It is so true. We need to, self-care doesn't have to look like bubble baths and wine. I hate baths, man,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't drink.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da! But
Mm-hmm.
self-care can be, I love that you need me to help you with your science project, but mommy needs 10 minutes of silence to herself. Let's set a timer and come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a no, it's showing boundary and showing your children that you need space too. And those are important things for your children to understand.
Absolutely.
Because it's not just you, but it's their teacher, it's their coaches, future partners, friends, family members. You're modeling that behavior and them to be able to show boundaries and grace for other people too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And let's see, the other two here that I have compiled, someone who teaches through their imperfections. So it's almost like you are teaching and learning and growing and communicating all at the same time.
So an example is that when you get to that space where you're launching kids, right? Like they feel like you have everything figured out, and to them you do. But also, there is nothing wrong with saying to your kids, this is the first time I've done this also.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have all the answers for you, but I'm here to help you figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Our kids want to know that we are human too.
Yeah.
I think so often when we get caught up in perfectionism and our kids see us get caught up in perfectionism, like nobody gets a break. And that is going to take me right into the last one that I have written down right here.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
And it is a healthier alternative to being a too good mom is someone that gives herself, her kids, her partner permission to be human.
Mm-hmm. I like that too. But caveat to that is that you need to have the communication with your partner and your kids to know when they need the human time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
well, and I think I take that like everybody makes mistakes. And if you don't like the word mistake, everybody makes choices that they can learn and grow from.
There you go.
I think sometimes we have to let our shit fail. Sometimes we have to let our kids fail to learn the valuable lesson. What is the natural consequences? I mean,
natural consequence, and what could you do better next time? Because there's going to be a next time. Life's not perfect. You don't get into the school of choice. You don't get the job on the first try. Why did that happen? Mm-hmm. Maybe you shouldn't have been tailgating. You got in an accident. Like, it can't always be somebody else's fault.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Accountability.
Yes.
You take accountability for your actions. And this is where we'll loop back up to the other one. Like, model that. Model the behavior you want to see. You want to see your kids getting outside more. Go outside more. I mean, look.
You want to see your kids read more. Even if it's not you don't read a book, listen to books.
I have a client and she couldn't keep her teenagers off the internet late at night. So my recommendation was to get the app from the cable provider and shut off the internet to the whole house. And I love that. Her kids went nuts. She has 3 teenagers and her life was holy hell for a couple of weeks. But
another alternative is when our kids at 10 o'clock, they had to plug in their phone and leave it on the kitchen counter. We also don't have our phones out during dinner.
Right? Right?
There are ways around this. You just, as a parent, have to hold that boundary line.
And if you didn't when they were little, you might be in a little bit of an uphill battle, but just know and trust that you can always change the direction.
Yeah.
But
you're
it's up
the
to
steerer of the
you.
ship.
You have to recognize it. So I want to know. I want to know where all my Two Good Moms are out there. Like,
Yes.
come find me. Come find me. If you want a swift kick in the pants, go find Mandy. If you want somebody to gently guide you into what comes next, come talk to me.
I mean, most people are ready to want to find Jamie and not Mandy. Plus, Mandy doesn't. I don't post about these kinds of things.
I know.
Just Jamie does. And honestly, if someone reached out to me, I'd be like, you need to go see Jamie.
But I made it funny.
I know you did.
I always make it funny. All right, Mandy, I think it's time that we wrap this up. I hope we got to our point today.
I think we did.
Okay.
So, Two Good Moms out there, we love you.
And don't have any judge.
Oh, yeah! I got hearts.
Do it again.
Go watch us on YouTube a second time to see the hearts. Oh.
I'm telling you.
Can I get balloons too?
Yes, you can do it all. You can
confetti.
Do it all.
I got confetti.
Okay, so fireworks. Try maybe.
Nope.
Okay, we can play with this once we stop recording too. Okay, so until next time, everyone, no shade, no judgment. We understand you always did the best you could. You couldn't know what you don't know, but now you do. Let's get busy doing things different.
Bye. If you enjoyed this recording, please leave us a 5-star review and share with your friends, family, and of course, your favorite barista.
Thank you so much for joining today's adventure of Coffee with M&J. You can find us on all major social media platforms, as well as MJ Designs and Marketing and New Soul Rising.
We want you to leave feeling inspired to live your best life to your fullest potential. Until next time.